Take two, everybody. I messed it up last night. What's up, my friends, my loves? Pumpkin. That's what my wife used to call everybody. She used to call everybody Pumpkin. I don't know why she did that. Anyway, thanks for hitting the button. Thank you for clicking the thing that you're supposed to click. And it is I, your boy Jay, the movie monk, the Bishop of Bull Moose. And every now and again, I moonlight as a Hong Kong phooey. And today I'm coming at you with a small haul. As I record this, it is August the 1st. So I have all of my purchases from July stacked up right here in this nice little stack. And I thought it would be fun in this video to go over the things that I've purchased and show them off, since I've decided that I do that now. I have decided to part with that particular principle. I love alliteration. This is a smaller haul, I will warn you. This is a slightly smaller haul. I have felt a little bit less motivated to buy new stuff lately, which might be just a terrible thing for a physical media guy to admit on the internet, but I have just been feeling less motivated to buy things. I have a large pile, a very large pile of stuff that I have not watched yet, both format upgrades of movies that I've seen already, as well as plenty of blind buys. And so that's probably a whole other video in and of itself, talking about kind of how I'm feeling, inside right here where my little stickers are. I got daughters. They stuck stickers on me. What can I say? I can't peel them off. I'm sentimental, guys. So that's probably a whole other video talking about my waning motivation, sort of like, it's not gone for good, but lately I just haven't really felt like buying stuff. I felt like being a good Buddhist and not engaging in too much wanton consumerism. So I have a relatively small number. This is a relatively small number of titles for me that you see here. Over the last year or so, I've averaged 25 to 30 new movies a month. So on the high side, that's like a movie a day. I hope my wife doesn't see this. Anyway, so I've got less than that this month, and probably next month too. I've got some stuff on pre-order, but besides just a few pre-orders that I put in a little while back, I just really have not been feeling like pulling the trigger on some stuff. And it might cost me in the long run, because I didn't pull the trigger on the Nightmare on Elm Street Steelbook set, and that might wind up costing me a little bit down the line, but we'll see. I'll just be patient with that one. Anyway, let's go through these in chronological order based on the date that I purchased these. The first movie that I picked up in July is Dark City. That is a Arrow 4K chunky box set. I apologize for the glare, but it is what it is. I need lights. So nice chunky set, 4K from Arrow. This is a movie that I haven't seen in a long time, actually. I have the DVD. I went to see this in theaters, guys. That's how old I am. See all this white in my beard? That comes from seeing Dark City in the theaters in like 1998 or whatever year that was. So I saw this in theaters, and then several years later, I don't know, circa 2002, 2003, I picked up the DVD. I think it is one of those little snap cases that you snap open the little plastic part and then the cardboard part opens up. There ought to be a better name for those. Anyway, let's think of a name for those cases, because there should be a better one or two word name. Dark City. Obviously, it's still wrapped up. I haven't watched this 4K yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing this one again. It's been a long time since I popped that DVD in. It's been many years, maybe even a decade since I popped that DVD in. So this is exactly what I was talking about a second ago when I said I've got a large pile of movies that I haven't watched yet. And even though I have seen Dark City a couple of times in my life, I haven't watched it since I upgraded to the 4K. And what's the point in buying something you're not going to watch, right, guys? Am I right? Now, speaking of buying things that I'm not going to watch, the second film I bought this month is Grave of the Fireflies. As you can see, this one is still wrapped too. And this one might stay forever wrapped. I might never unwrap Grave of the Fireflies. And let me tell you why. This is just too soul-crushing of a film. I really only bought this Steelbook to keep up with my complete set of G-Kids. I think it's G-Kids. Shout does the G-Kids line of Studio Ghibli films. So I've got all of the Studio Ghibli Steelbook releases from G-Kids. And so I bought this just to keep my collection complete. I don't have any serious intention of actually watching this because this was hard enough 20 years ago, well before I had kids. Now I've got 2 young children. I do not have the stomach for this shit anymore. I just don't. It's not in me anymore. I'm way too much of a softie. I come on this YouTube channel acting hard as shit sometimes. I'm like, yo, I'm gangster, look at me, like I'm West, yo, Tupac, Biggie, I got shot 9 times. Like, I talk a big game, but I will bawl my eyes out in this film. And I will, like, go into my daughter's room and sob as I hold her. Like, it will happen. So I don't think I've got what it takes to watch Grave of the Fireflies. So, you know, what's the point in buying a movie you're not going to watch, right? Keeping your collection complete. Now, we all know July was the Criterion sale month. It was one of the 2 Criterion sale months that we get every year at Barnes & Noble. The next one will be in November, almost certainly in November, but July is a sale month, and so like many of you, no doubt, I went out and bought a few Criterions. I added a few new Criterions to the collection in the month of July, and so I'll show those to you now. I bought these all at once, I think. Maybe Paper Moon, I actually think I might have bought this one through Amazon at a separate instance than the others. But this was $18, so you can't argue with a Criterion 4K, brand new, right? Still in the wrapper, and $18, only $18. So that is kind of a steal of a deal. This is a blind buy for me. I have never seen Paper Moon, but it's a Bogdanovich. And honestly, I would blind buy this just on the strength of Ryan O'Neal's crazy ass. That man is insane. I don't know if you've read up on Ryan O'Neal and some of his shenanigans in his life. You need to. We need a insane R-rated biopic about his life ASAP. I would watch the shit out of that because Ryan O'Neal lived a crazy life. He's got some wild stories behind him. So I'll buy a Ryan O'Neal movie just because he's batshit loco. Although I don't think his character in this film is going to be batshit loco. He was. He definitely was. The next one I got here is Choose Me. It's another Criterion from the Criterion sale. This was another blind buy, although I have since watched this. I think I watched this like, I don't know, the first or second day that I got it. Because I really liked that. I found the image, the cover art very striking. And actually, before I knew what this movie really was, I thought this was kind of an erotic thriller. I thought this might have like a Brian De Palma type of, you know, body heat or Dress to Kill kind of vibe. But actually, it turns out that this is kind of a romantic dramedy. There's a little bit of comedy to it. It's definitely not a thriller. It's definitely not a erotic, you know, seduction thriller, anything like that. It's no body double. I definitely think it's worth checking out. I feel like I want to watch Choose Me again, I don't know, in like a year from now. I want to really let it sit with me a little bit before I form kind of a final opinion. It's got a soundtrack by Teddy Pendergrass. Like, he did the whole soundtrack, which I wasn't so sure I was going to like, but actually worked really well. I don't see myself buying the soundtrack, but the fact that Teddy Pendergrass did the whole thing created this kind of sonic consistency throughout Choose Me that I think served the film well, even if it's not like Highlander where it's like Who Wants to Live Forever. It's like you'll bang that track if you're smart. So next on my list of Criterions that I purchased is the Val Lewton double feature here. You can see I've still got this in the wrapping paper too. Sorry about that, guys. It would have looked better without that giant Barnes & Noble sticker on it, wouldn't it? How about that? Is that a little bit better? It's a little bit better without the glare. This is a double feature that during the 50% off sale, this costs $30. That's $15 per film for 2 Criterion films, 2 films restored by Criterion in 4K. And I would expect these to look quite nice. For $15 each, again, it's the type of thing that you're getting a lot of entertainment value for a relatively cheap price, which is why I love it. I have seen I Walked with a Zombie, I think on like TCM. It was probably on television, and it was probably Turner Classic, because I don't see any other station really playing like an old 1941 black and white horror film. So it was probably TCM. It was some years ago. I'm looking forward to watching it on 4K. I've never seen The Seventh Victim, so this part right here, this was the blind buy half. This half I've seen before. This half was a blind buy. So something like a 50% blind buy, but again, 15 bucks for brand new. I'll take the risk on that. I am waiting till October to check this one out, though. This is going to be something that potentially enters my rotation in October. I'll check that out for the spooky season, to give me a break from the standbys in a few months, guys. I'm going to wait to watch that one. Now, my last Criterion that I purchased in the month of July is Time Bandits. I don't know how much you can see that here. I'm trying to let you see the lenticular slipcover, but it does have a very sick lenticular slipcover that I like. And it's a rarity for Criterion to do slipcovers. They don't do slipcovers very much. This is a pretty standard slipcover, except for the fact that it's lenticular. And that tends to be a bit of a rarity across slipcovers. I know Vinegar Syndrome has done several lenticular slipcovers. I have a Kickboxer 4K Steelbook that has a lenticular slipcover. So it happens from time to time, but I would say the norm is not to have lenticular plastic on that slipcover. But this one does, and it's a rare Criterion slipcover. There's probably only a small handful of Criterion films that have slipcovers. And so, yeah, you got to buy Time Bandits. Even if you don't care for Terry Gilliam, it's got that sick, sick slipcover. I've only ever seen the DVD of Time Bandits. It's not a total blind buy. I've seen an earlier format. I never bought the Blu-ray, so I'm looking forward to watching that one on 4K, hopefully pretty soon. Looking forward to that. Now, next up, I got a small box from Vinegar Syndrome, which in my first attempt at this video, I did a whole unboxing of, but I'm sorry, that box is already broken down in the recycling. I didn't realize my audio was boned, so we got to do this again without the unboxing. Sorry, guys, you don't get to watch me slice a box open, but I did buy a few Vinegar Syndromes. They opened up at the beginning of July. After having been closed for June for Partners Only month, they didn't sell any Vinegar Syndrome label movies, only partner labels, and that's fine. I bought one or two of those as well. But when they opened back up at the beginning of July, they had this Alien Invasion sale, which wasn't very alien-y, if you ask me. But they did put some old stuff on sale, and so I did grab some of their old stuff at very cheap prices. I think this first one I got, Mutant Hunt. This first one I got is Mutant Hunt, and I believe I paid something like $12 for this. I believe this was $12. But again, you know, it's a slipcover, Vinegar Syndrome, Blu-ray. We all know that their transfers are great. We love their transfers. Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray with a slipcover for 12 bucks. I don't see how you beat it. Mutant Hunt, this is a 100% pure blind buy for me. It looks pretty awful. I'm not going in with very high hopes, but I will be eating copious edibles before I watch that one, because that one just doesn't strike me as one that I want to go into without edibles on board. So, you know, whatever. Now, the next one I've got is another blind buy, and this is Grave Robbers. This one I think takes place at Halloween. I think this one takes place at Halloween. So regardless, I'm waiting till October to watch Grave Robbers because it'll be a new one for my spooky season rotation. And I know nothing about this, but I liked the artwork. I decided that I liked the artwork. This is the new slipcover that was produced, I don't know, about a year ago or so for their rad sale. Total blind buy, but it was like $11.50 for a Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray with a slipcover, brand new. I find that very hard to say no to. And so I also picked up Cemetery of Terror. Again, same artist, same director. I mean, the films are very much going to be like a double feature, you know, like I'll watch these probably back to back. Cemetery of Terror. Again, I like the artwork. Less than $12 for a brand new Vinegar Syndrome with a slipcover. I can't say no to that. So I'll bust that one out in October, and that'll be fun. Now, one of the ones that I was really excited about, this is my last Vinegar Syndrome purchase from their sale period, their Alien Invasion sale, is Shanghai Triad. Was very excited about this one. This is a Zhang Yimou film starring Gong Li. This was, I don't know, their 4th or 5th collaboration as director and star, respectively. And they worked together quite a bit. They didn't make another film together for like 9 or 10 years after this. And this came out in '95. Chase, this is not a chopsocky movie, okay? It's not a kung fu movie in Shanghai Triad. That's kind of a cool back, too. I really like the slipcover for this one. But Shanghai Triad is not a chopsocky movie. It's more of a thriller with some romance angle to it. It's like a Chinese mafia movie. The Triad is Chinese mafia. So it's not like a Martin Scorsese, but it's kind of like a Hong Kong cinema version of that type of thing, sort of chronicling the organized crime syndicates of 1930s China. So it's not exactly The Godfather, but it's sort of, you know, I guess it could invite comparisons to Italian mob movies. So this is a film that well worth waiting for. This was one that I think the print run on this one, for the limited edition at least, was like 3,000. It was pretty low. And so I was a little worried at first that it might sell quickly because it's Zhang Yimou, it's Shanghai Triad. Apparently it's more famous in my mind than it is in anyone else's because it did not sell very quickly. They still have copies left. You could still buy this slipcover copy today for $29, but I only paid $16 for this, brand new, because I got it on sale. Guys, that's a $13 savings on that title. What I've been saying for ages and ages and ages, maybe since I was shitting diapers, is that if you can save an average of $10 per movie that you buy, because you buy them on sales or you buy them used, you get them pre-owned, whatever, if you can save an average of $10 per title and you buy one title per week, that will save you about $500 per year. And that's $500 that you can put back into your hobby, which is, in this case, buying movies on physical media. So I've just got a few more here. We're getting towards the end of the month. By the time I received my Vinegar Syndrome box here, the month was darn near over because it took them frickin' 3 weeks to send the thing to me. But I did take a little trip to Walmart just a couple of days ago. I think it was, I don't know, the 29th or the 30th of July. So July was just about over, but I squeezed in a few more. I got the 4K Steelbook for Nobody. I've seen this movie once. This was not a blind buy. I saw this actually, I don't know, Amazon Prime or something like that. I streamed it, basically. I streamed it. I watched it with my wife and her parents, my in-laws, because they got decent taste in movies too. It's not Shanghai Triad, right? It's not a Zhang Yimou like art film, Raise the Red Lantern or something like that. But come on, it's a fun action movie. The dude fucks people up and starts boning his wife again. It's a real redemption story. And Christopher Lloyd, I saw that he was in the movie, but watching it and seeing like what his role wound up really being, it wound up being kind of a very pleasant, kind of crowd pleaser surprise at Christopher Lloyd. Like when he started effing S up, it was pretty cool. And definitely I was not upset about Christopher Lloyd in that movie. So I'm looking forward to checking out Nobody. That's going to be good stuff. I also have one more Steelbook this month that just happened to come in. At the very, very end, we played a little bit of Amazon Roulette here with To Catch a Thief. We played a little bit of Amazon Roulette, but look at this. I mean, it came in perfect condition. One way to play Amazon Roulette is to order a movie that comes with a slipcover and see whether or not you get the slipcover. You win Amazon Roulette if the movie comes with a slip. If it does not come with a slipcover, then you have lost Amazon Roulette. There's also a way to play Amazon Roulette with Steelbooks, and that is to order a Steelbook. They put it in a flimsy mailer, and then you win Amazon Roulette if the thing shows up in pristine condition, which I won Amazon Roulette the other day. And you lose Amazon Roulette if this comes with a giant, giant hole in the center of it, like someone turned this Steelbook into their own personal fleshlight, which seems like it would be uncomfortable, but yeah, there's people out there for sure. I've been known to rub myself on one of these Steelbooks from time to time, especially when we're talking about a Cary Grant, Alfred Hitchcock production. This is the third, I think, of 4 movies that they did together. And they had a very good relationship, which is quite nice to hear. But Cary Grant did 4 films with Alfred Hitchcock. This is the third of 4, and 3 of the 4 are out on 4K. North by Northwest, of course, has a 4K Steelbook that I will probably end up overspending on. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I'm going to overspend on that bad boy. And Notorious has a 4K from Criterion. Notorious is another phenomenal Cary Grant and Alfred Hitchcock. That might be my favorite of the 4. Definitely check out Notorious. Great, great movie. 4K. Very nice. But Suspicion is I think that might be their first collaboration, and it is not yet available on 4K, but Warner Archive has that one. So who knows? Maybe we'll wind up getting a 4K with Warner Archive, dipping their toes into that format. Now, that leaves me with just one more movie to show you guys that I purchased in the month of July, and that is Billy Madison. I picked up the 4K, the Kino Lorber 4K of Billy Madison. And I'll say this is a big one for me. Billy Madison is a big one because I saw this opening night in the theaters. I think it was February of 1995. I think it was February 95 that this opened, and I went to see it in the theaters when it was brand new opening night. And I don't really remember being very aware of this film at all, like what this film was going to be, what it was like. I don't remember really having any clue of this movie. I wandered into this movie so blind. I hadn't heard of Adam Sandler. I was not watching a ton of Saturday Night Live at that time, so I wouldn't have been familiar with him from there. And I don't know why I chose to go see this movie that night, but I did. And I'm eternally glad that I did, because I laughed my ass off in this movie. This movie was just the right blend of sort of lovable loser. He's he's this big man-child, but he's also very, very sensitive and loyal to his friends in this film. So he's really a very redeeming character while still being pretty imperfect, right? I thought this was legitimately a movie about a retarded guy for like the first 15 minutes. I thought this is what Forrest Gump should have been, is what I was thinking. It's like, this is legit an actual mentally retarded person, and it's a 2-hour movie about somebody. Turns out he's just a wicked asshole. But to me, in my mind, Billy Madison is the film that really kicked off the main body of that like 90s cycle, the main corpus of that 90s cycle of lovable loser, slacker, man-children coming of age way later than they should have cycle of films. We need to think of a shorter name for that. But it includes films like, of course, Billy Madison came out first, but then Tommy Boy was hot on its heels, I think same month. Happy Gilmore a year later, Black Sheep, same year as Happy Gilmore, I think maybe within a month or two. Dirty Work, there are some others, of course, as well as films that are kind of pre that cycle, like pre-Billy Madison films that sort of led into the start of that like 90s, mid-90s lovable loser, slacker type of, SNL centric maybe comedy films. And I'm drafting notes on a lengthy video kind of defining and discussing this subgenre of films. So keep your eyes out on that in the next year and a half, I don't know. But my only disappointment with this copy of Billy Madison is that it's a relatively uninteresting release, unfortunately. There is one new commentary on this disc. Every other special feature is a legacy special feature that's brought over from some earlier version. I bought this movie on DVD. I never bought it on Blu-ray, but I bought this on DVD, and not only does it have the same cover, it's got the same special features. So I'm a little bit disappointed with this when it's just a flimsy Kino slip cover like they always do. It's just this thin, barely cardboard. You could barely call this cardboard. This is somewhere between like cardstock and printer paper. It's really not very thick at all. Kino has the easiest slips to knock off or counterfeit. So I look at something like Dirty Work, the limited edition Dirty Work that came out from Vinegar Syndrome very recently. I look at that, and then I look at Billy Madison, and I wish it was Billy Madison. I loved Dirty Work. I really enjoyed rewatching Dirty Work. It had been a long time since I had seen Dirty Work. And I wound up really, really falling in love with that movie. I think probably for the first time, finally falling in love with Dirty Work. But looking at the presentation that Vinegar Syndrome gave to Dirty Work, and then looking at the presentation that Billy Madison gets, just ho-hum, slipcover, normal case, and one rinky-dink little special feature that's new. Otherwise, it's all the same old special features that we've had since the DVD era. We're talking about just a few special features. I think it's like outtakes, gag reels, the original Legacy director's commentary, and then the new commentary. So it's really just a very small handful of special features anyway. And for that to be $35, it's like, I don't know. I would much rather pay $45 and get something in a chunky box set with a rigid slipcase, with a perfect bound book filled with writing on the film that also has a plethora of new special features. I'm really just kind of sad that this 4K of Billy Madison wound up underwhelming me. Now, I did pop this in and watch it last night, and I've got to say, it looked nice. It was not, maybe not as blown away as some of Kino's other. There have been a few Kino Blu-ray and 4Ks that have really kind of, I've been impressed. Like April Fool's Day, the 4K for April Fool's Day is a great looking 4K. I was really quite impressed with that. Billy Madison I thought looked great too. There was some very tasteful grain. I call that grain in Billy Madison very tasteful. And so it was a fine looking film. I think it looks great on 4K. Maybe not quite as good as Dirty Work. Holy shit, they made Dirty Work look good. Anyway, I just do wish that Billy Madison had a little bit of a better presentation. Anyway, it looks like in July, if you remember the beginning of this video, I mentioned I pick up 25 to 30 movies a month. This is about half as many as a typical month. And so I'm planning on even less than that in August. Like I said, I've got a few pre-orders that I'm waiting to arrive. The pre-orders that I ordered, I mean, some of them I ordered, like I ordered the Man with No Dollars trilogy from Diabolic, I don't know, back in February. And so all three of those, instead of paying shipping, 3 times, I'm cheap. You guys know that. I wanted to pay shipping once and save $12. So I'm waiting for all of those to arrive. Those will arrive in August. I don't know. I'll record a video on it about how I'm feeling about just buying stuff. But I really just want to lean into my vast pile of movies that I haven't watched yet and stuff like that. So anyway, that was July. August is going to be even smaller. We'll get it whittled down to where I feel like a good Buddhist. It wasn't quite a no by July, but it was a less by July for me at least. So anyway, thank you guys for checking out the video, man. Thanks for clicking the button. I'm going to finish chugging this while these people, thanks to these people, while these people's names, read these people's names while I chug this, and I'll catch you guys on the flippy dippy.